Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. So a couple of days ago, I shared a lesson on the eternal child, pure eternus. Pure eternus, I think that's how you would pronounce it. But it's the, literally means the eternal boy. But we're going to translate it to the eternal child, right? This is a figure like Peter Pan, who never grows up. He's got this pixie-like disposition that keeps him in a state of perpetual childhood. On the Orisha side, we would have, something like Egbe. Egbe falls into that kind of a categories. These are child spirits, emere, and they could be positive or they could be negative when we talk about emere. But either way, this is an archetypal pattern that shows up as our unwillingness to basically mature and take ownership of the adult things of life, maturity. And today, based on the messages that we received from Obatala this morning, I want to share a very similar lesson just to show how the principles play themselves out, and they can be very similar, but they deserve distinction, right? And so today, Al-Batala, who is the one who restores heads and restores destinies, Al-Batala spoke very clearly about the principle of restoration, of rejuvenation. Al-Batala talked about the time in which someone had lost some of their essence, some of their life force, some of their shine, their brillo, as they would say in Spanish. And they were advised to do certain things, specifically to use herbal medicines and take spiritual baths in order to rejuvenate themselves, reactivate their life forces. And so it got me to thinking about alchemy. And the goal of alchemy is to create or to discover the philosopher's stone, or the elixir of life. These are things that are synonymous with the fountain of youth. And those are similar to the eternal boy, right? Those are the sentiment and the idea of youth and vitality. They're very much aligned with this idea of restoration and rejuvenation. And even within the word rejuvenation, you see juven, right? Juvenile, which in Spanish, joven, right? Juventus, if you watch soccer. Those are all synonymous with youth. But the difference between the two is that whereas the eternal boy, when that archetype is overly active, or a person is trapped up in the shadowy aspects of that archetype, then they are going to shirk their responsibilities. They're going to be like even a mercenary, right? The best mercenary, you get them before they're like 12 years old, because their value systems haven't formed. And if you can get them to go out and commit atrocities before that happens, then it will be natural to them. They won't feel remorse. They won't feel as much remorse, right? Because they haven't developed that part of their mind yet. So if you are trapped there, then you can be, your values can be underdeveloped, and you can be amoral, right? As a matter of habit. But the quest for the philosopher's stone or the elixir of life is more along the lines of being able to acquire a full lifetime's worth of experience and wisdom, but then not die, right? Because what happens, we know in the course of life, if you live to be 75, 80 years old, it's only in your later years that you really are getting clear about what this whole thing is about. But as soon as you crack the code, then, it's time for you to start getting ready to check out. So the elixir of life is what allows you to cheat death, basically. You get all this wisdom, you get all this experience, and then you get to use it to your advantage for another lifetime or another 2 lifetimes. And even that has its own shadowy aspects when we start thinking about, in movies and books and stuff like that, where there will be these characters like werewolves, people who will be like vampires, who they will come out and they get these powers and this insight and these abilities. And what do? They use them for exclusively selfish gains. They're not applying their insights and their resources to the community or the collective benefit at all. Okay. Conversely, you will also see figures that have cheated death by virtue, maybe like angelic beings. These are beings that have been created with the capacity to transcend time, and they know the past, present, and future, and they're able to show up and do things to ensure that what is going to be beneficial in another time is able to be fertilized and grow. Okay. And so you can think a lot of movies that are like that, even movies like The Terminator, right? If you were around in the 80s, that's a classic idea of somebody who's defying time. And these more recent shows like The Flash, where, the Flash is running so fast that he breaks the space-time continuum or something like that. But he's got to be careful not to, influence things that would interrupt the timeline, right? That's a more benevolent, expression of this elixir of life, or the philosopher's stone, that allows you to cheat death, because cheating death is cheating time, is being able to defy all the limitations of time. So all that to say that the eternal child and the elixir of life do have in common an appreciation for vitality, but the objectives and the nature of each of those quests are distinguished by the archetype of the eternal child being stuck in childhood and irresponsibility, and the philosopher's stone being, a function of alchemy, is more geared towards increasing your wisdom, intensifying your power, and being able to then increase your influence. All right. So this is a lesson for the seekers, right? This is a lesson for the seekers who are destined to become leaders. If you really want to understand how the depth of your understanding of the human mind and the essence of what it means to be a human being, how you can use those inclinations and those insights and understandings to help bring positive influence into your life and into the lives of those who you're destined to serve, then I want you to find out how Oloye, Obafemi Origuwa, and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start working together to help you live the medicine so you can heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Orabo.